Power ranking Chiefs wide receivers since 2016. Now, interesting, I didn't give like a qualifier like best Chiefs receiver. So you could honestly power rank, these are up to your interpretation, or if you're power ranking them the best or who you like the most. But power ranking Chiefs receivers 5-1. That's how we do it on the show. Got to make you listen all the way to the end so you know who our number one is. So, Jordan, start off with your number five. Who do you have as your number five receiver?
So I'm gonna be honest. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I had 13 names on my list, and I literally went. I ranked every Chiefs receiver to register one catch in a regular season game over the past 5 years.
Oh, my.
Yeah,
Well,
so I have 5 different tiers. I could do that quickly.
yeah, we'll just start with your fifth tier, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, fifth
Uh-huh.
tier is the field. And at the bottom, we have Kelvin Benjamin, who I believe had 26 receiving yards as a Chief. We have Jihu Chesson. He is
Mm-hmm.
in that tier. We have Garrick Dieter, and we have Marcus Kemp. So that is my final tier of Chiefs receivers of the past 5 years.
I don't know if you saw this on Instagram or no, it's Twitter. Patrick Mahomes quote tweeted a Garrick Dieter tweet. Him and Byron Pringle,
Mhm.
being him as Garrick Dieter, went to do like I think like 9 round boxing or something. Did some cardio boxing, and Patrick Mahomes quote tweeted and said, "My man Garrick Dieter thinks he's Jake Paul," which is so funny. Yeah, I love that those guys are like the best of friends, and Garrick Dieter's like
Mhm.
a practice squad wide receiver. I want Garrick Dieter's life. Essentially, is what it comes down to. But number five, I didn't do Jordan. I didn't ultimate power rank everything. I just picked five receivers. I got Demarcus Robinson. Demarcus Robinson cracking my list at number five, played from 2016 to present. He's number 37 on the Chiefs' all-time receiving list. Fun fact. He's played in 80 games in Kansas City. I saw that he played in 80 games. I was like, I cannot believe that he's played,
Mhm.
that long. But 120 receptions, 14, 15, 1,415. I said that really weird. Yards and 11 touchdowns in 80 games in Kansas City. We talk about Demarcus Robinson all the time. Patrick Mahomes saying he could be a number one receiver on another team, and then him catching the ball and immediately running backwards. So there's a lot of mixed feelings in Kansas City about Demarcus Robinson, but I think in the last 5 years, he's been a top five wide receiver for the team.
Sure, I have him number 6 on my list.
Mm.
But in my what could have been tier, I have in reverse order, of course, DeAnthony Thomas and
Mm-hmm.
Byron Pringle, because Thomas was he's going to be this, he's going to be that, he's going to do this, he's going to do that. And it just never really manifested itself. And then Byron Pringle, people wanted him to be the X. They wanted him to do this, that, and the other. The Chiefs just aren't going to give him that opportunity. So in my what could have been tier, those two guys are all by themselves.
You ready for my number four? You ready for
I
this one?
am.
Albert Wilson.
He's my 4 too.
See? Look at that.
That's a good pick.
From 2014 to 2017, Albert Wilson played on the team. Number 32 all time on the Chiefs receiving list. I saw that and I was kind of like, oh, 32? 55 games, 124 receptions, 1,544 yards, 7 touchdowns. And you know what? I think the best thing about Albert Wilson's career is Mahomes got him paid. Was that when in week 17? There's that play that got Albert Wilson
Yeah.
paid with the Miami Dolphins. And I always liked Albert Wilson. He was always one of those guys. I was like, hey, if he wants to come back, he can come back. I'd be happy to have him. But Albert Wilson, I got as my number four.
Yeah, that's a good pick. And he's in my threes company tier of
Mm-hmm.
guys who they're not the number one receiver. They're not the number two receiver. They're more of a number three guy,
Yeah.
depending on how you look at it. So in reverse order, I've got McCole Hardman at number 7. I've got Demarcus Robinson at number 6. I've got Chris Conley at number 5,
Okay.
and old friend Albert Wilson at number 4.
Chris Conley was my number 6. I
Okay.
went back and forth between him and Demarcus Robinson if I wanted to throw him. And then once I looked at, the receiving list and saw Demarcus Robinson was, I believe, 4 or 5 spots ahead of Chris Conley, I was like, okay, you know what? Demarcus Robinson probably does deserve it, does deserve a mention on my list. So you've given 3 tiers, correct? You've given
I have.
3 out of your 5 tiers. All right. So you're ready for my number 3 receiver then, huh?
I think our 1, 2, and 3 are going to be the same, but I'm excited to see if you have Watkins or Macklin as your 3.
I've got Sammy Watkins as my number 3.
Okay.
Um, I've got him down from 2018 2020. Number 31 on the Chiefs all-time receiving list. 34 games, 129 receptions, 1,613 yards, 8 touchdowns. Playoff Sammy, man, that's all you can say. Playoff Sammy last year was not last year, but like in 20, what was that? That I've guessed technically been 2018, right? Um, yeah, no, 2019. Oh,
2019. Yeah.
bad with years. But you can't the touchdown to help put the Chiefs up and all that stuff in the Super Bowl and him playing so well in the playoffs there. And then it was kind of a disappointing end to his tenure in Kansas City. But I've always liked Sammy Watkins, man. The dude can block with the best of them, and he can he's just a really good X wide receiver when he's healthy. And that's always been the big caveat of his career of when he's healthy. But when he's healthy, he's up there with the best of them.
Yeah, absolutely. In my number 2's tier, I have Watkins at 3. I have Jeremy Macklin at 2. I think that I was just a Macklin guy, even though he was with
Yeah.
Alex Smith. I think Watkins, had he been available and been more reliable, he would probably overtake Macklin for that spot. Unless I'm missing someone super obvious, I think you probably have J Mac up there too. And obviously, local Mizzou guy, right? I think he was a Mizzou
Yep.
guy.
Yep.
Yeah. So I know that you probably like Jeremy Macklin a fair amount. And he was just a good receiver. Like I remember, wasn't he the one the Chiefs tampered with technically and had to forfeit a draft pick for, got
I think
fined or
so.
whatever?
Yeah, I think it
Yeah,
was
like
Jeremy
it,
Macklin.
and it was obviously worth it. He was a good player for the Chiefs. Good chemistry with the quarterback. Just a really good player overall.
I do have Jeremy Macklin as my number 2. I really thought you were going to go Sammy Watkins at number 2. That's why I
Mm.
said, I don't know if you're going to have him. But Jeremy Macklin, Mizzou guy. I got to side with the Mizzou guy. And he was like one of my favorite players with Chase Daniel. So like having him
Mhm.
come and play for not only my favorite college, but then my favorite pro team. Oh, it was a good 2 years. He played from 2015, 2016 with the Chiefs. He played in 27 games, 131 catches. What I found was really interesting, in 27 games, he had over 1,600 yards. So
Yeah.
very productive with the Alex Smith regime there, 10 touchdowns. Like I said, Mizzou made. He is number 29 all time on the Chiefs receiving list, and he only played 2 years as a Kansas City Chiefs, which is really interesting because he is the second highest player of our era, of
Yeah.
this era that we've set on this list, and that's at number 29. The Chiefs haven't had some phenomenal. They haven't had great receivers, right? They haven't had phenomenal ones. I know I said that pretty quietly because, like, looking at this list, there's some interesting names, and we'll talk about it later. But Jordan, number 1, who's your tier, or is it just one guy?
Yeah, I called it own class, his own class. It's Tyreek Hill. Like
Yeah.
obviously, man, if you take out so the first season he ran for over 250 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had almost 600 yards and 6 receiving touchdowns. Then he had almost 1,207. Then he had almost 1,512. Then he had the season where he missed with the collarbone injury or whatever, still almost 900 yards. Then 1,276 and 15 touchdowns last season. He's going to be an all-time great by the time it's said and done. And really the work he's put in to come in from a guy who, like, if McCole Hardman would end up where Tyreek Hill was after 1 year, I mean, you could make that comparison. Like, if he was used similarly, I don't think that Hardman quite has that speed because Hill's one of one. Like, truly, he's just an insane athlete. But just the progression that he made so quickly, like it was learning how to play within the scheme, then it was route running, then it was hands, then it was jump balls down the field, then it was just picking apart zone coverage, then it was beating press. Like, he's good at everything. Like, he's a top 10 receiver no matter how you look at it. I think a top 5 somewhere in there receiver in the league, and there's no one better than him for that number 1 spot, especially considering, like you said, the Chiefs just haven't been extremely blessed to have some top flight talent at the receiver position since Kelsey counts as the tight end.
Right. What was that year that the Chiefs didn't throw a touchdown to a wide receiver?
I
Was that?
believe 2015.
I think it
I
was
think.
15 as well. That was my first thought. If we're wrong, go ahead and roast us, I guess. But that was my first instinct. It was 2015, and man,
Mhm.
that's tough. But I've got Tyreek Hill too. I mean, he's in a league of his own. Truthfully, just in the NFL in general.
Yep.
Listen, people are trying to find the next Tyreek Hill. These guys keep getting comped to Tyreek Hill in the NFL draft, and that's not fair to them. There's nobody else like Tyreek Hill. I wrote down on my sheet after his stats, I said, I mean, come on. Um, 74 games, 368 receptions, 5,391 yards, 47 touchdowns. That's in 5 years. So I mean, you work on the averages on that. We're talking about some serious numbers. He's number 9 on the all-time Chiefs receiving list after 5 years in the league. Tyreek Hill, hopefully he stays the Kansas City Chiefs for his whole career. I know we had a little bit of a
Mhm.
scare there with his little interview that he had. I believe he was at a charity, and then they kind of bombarded him with questions like that. But that's how it goes when you're in the league. Got to be ready for those questions at all times. Man, I love Tyreek Hill, what he's been able to do. His story is a good one, kind of a battle from adversity. There's been some adversity on the way to where he is now, and even when he's in the league, he still has to deal with adversity. But he's been able to really right that ship. And I think that when we look back at it, you're 100% right. He's going to be a top 5 receiver in the game. Possibly number 2 all time for the Kansas City Chiefs. Just so happens that tight ends are also included in this all time receiving list, which I think is funny when you look at this from the Chiefs' point of view that their top 2 spots, Tony Gonzalez, Travis Kelce, both tight ends. I don't know if
Mhm.
that says anything about the Chiefs if they uh, can't find receiver talent, or if they just are really good at finding tight ends. You could really spin it any way you want to. I think that's really interesting. And there's some names on this list. Dwayne Bowe at 4. Eddie Kinnison still in the top 10. Fred Arbanis, who just passed and out on 12. Jamal Charles at 18. Priest Holmes at 21. And those are like
Jamal
running backs.
Charles at
Yeah,
18. That is
right.
and that's with all the injuries he had too. Like,
Yes.
imagine if he, oh man, I bring that up to myself like every day.
Dante Hall at 30. Dexter
Mm.
McCluster at 35. Dexter McCluster at 35? Hang on. Oh,
Sean
man.
McGrath somewhere in there, Anthony Fasano somewhere in there, Demetrius Harris
Probably.
somewhere in there, probably.
Tony Moyaki at 56.
No
Donnie
way.
Avery at 64.
Where's Jason Avant? I know we've had this conversation about him earlier.
I gotta search
Yeah,
now.
Command
Hang
F,
on.
Jason Avant. I know he had
Jason
a couple big
Avant.
catches in the playoff game against New England, but I don't know about regular season.
125 is Jason Avant.
Wow.
271 yards only for the Kansas City Chiefs. This is regular
Huh.
season. I should notice.
Okay.
Christian Okoye, who was listed as a fullback. I didn't know he was a
Huh.
fullback. I thought he was just a running back. 294 yards. Let me see if I find any interesting ones. Byron Pringle at 111, 330 yards. Top 100 here. Man, I tell you what, dude. If you
That's a
ever if you
doozy.
ever have time, and you want to kill some time here, let's just go and look at the Chiefs all-time receiving list. Go look at their all-time passing list. Maybe we should do that for an episode. But
Yeah, we should.
93, Anthony Sherman. Anthony Sherman cracking the top 100 all-time of Chiefs receiving yards.
Here,
D'Anthony Thomas.
do me a favor.
Yeah.
Where do you think Mahomes is on the rushing list?
Oh, that's actually really
Just
good.
a wild guess. Do you think he's top 25?
I bet he's top 50. Top
I really
25 would be
don't know, dude.
close.
Dude, you think in our generation, Thomas Jones probably has more, Jamal probably has more, Priest Holmes probably has more, Larry Johnson, or I guess I shouldn't have to say probably. All those guys definitely have more. Even
Yeah.
Thomas Jones was only there for one season, but he had 1,000 or close to it, like 995.
I
Him
can't
and
tell you
Jamal
how
were close that year.
he's got to have more than 1,000 rushing yards though, right? Like Mahomes.
You think Mahomes? Well, if he ran for 40 times for 5 yards a carry. That's 200 for 4 years, but I think he's averaged more than 5 yards a carry. Do you think?
Okay, I think so. Let's look it up. I'm gonna hit the career leaders on Pro Football Reference. It's fun just to mess around on this website too. All right, Jamal Charles is the Chiefs' all-time career leader in yards. I think that
As it should be.
As it should be. Yes, Priest Holmes, Larry Johnson, Christian Okoye, who is one of my favorite players of all time. Ed Pollock, Abner Haynes, Marcus Allen, Mike Garrett, Curtis McClinton, Herman Hurd. That's a name right there. Holy cow.
Herman Hurd.
He played from 1984 to 1989. So Alex Smith is 20. Oh
wow.
My goodness.
Alex had wheels though. Like that run against the Lions made up for quite a bit of that, or maybe it was the Jets. The like 73-yard run. Mahomes is 40.
Mahomes is at 40. Clyde Edwards-Helaire at 42. So I'm not saying.
Oh my gosh. Give Clyde 1 year and where would Clyde be with another 1,000 yards?
With 1,000 yards, he'd be at 1,800, which would put him at 19.
Okay, so he'll almost or pretty likely crack the top 20. I think healthy he could get 1,000 maybe.
Yeah, he had 803 last season.
Really?
Yeah, more than I thought actually. Yeah,
and
so if he gets another 800,
he missed a few games at least.
Yeah, if he gets another 800, it'll be close with Spencer Ware and Alex Smith. Dude, Alex Smith has more rushing yards than Spencer Ware.
That's insane. And Spencer got some serious run when Jamal was hurt.
Yeah, and Tony Richardson. Whew.
Charkandrick West, where's he on that list? Top 25.
Chark, let me see here. Not top 25. Huh. He's at 34. Was that his uniform number?
I think it might have been.
I'll look it up. I think it is.
We got time to kill.
35. He was 35 and 30.
Okay.
I don't know who I was thinking of. 40 for Patrick Mahomes is impressive, though.
Yeah.
40th all time.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Dexter McCluster, 52. Tyreek Hill, 54. Damian
Williams,
one more.
44.
Okay.
Where do you think Marcus Peters is on the interceptions list for the Chiefs?
Oh, he's got to be like top 15, right? You have to think.
I think how many did he have? I think he had like.
I couldn't tell you how many he had, but I think that he's top 15.
How many years was he with the Chiefs? Was it only 2? I don't know.
I think it's 4.
I don't know how many years he's been in the league.
No, me either. He was drafted in 2016, I think. So he's drafted in the same draft as Tyreek Hill.
That sounds right.
So
because he was a Dorsey guy, clearly.
Yeah. Career leaders, defense. That's what we're looking at here. Yeah. Career leaders on defense. We're going to go to interceptions. I'm going to wait for it to load.
He's got to be up there. Because he had quite a few, and that was the main, like, people would hang their hat on that and, like, ignore the times he got absolutely torched because, he had so many interceptions.
20.
20, wow. With how many picks?
19. So he's tied with
19.
Dave Grayson for top, like, I don't know. I guess I have to go back and look because I think there's some tied up here. Emmett Thomas, number 1 with 58 picks, played from 1966 to 1978.
Holy heck.
That's a lot of picks. There's some good names on this one, too. Bobby Bell with 26 at number 10.
Wow.
Marcus Peters at 20. Brandon Flowers at 21. 17.
I liked him a lot.
I saw another. Tyrann Mathieu at 38 already with 10 picks. He's played for the team for 2 years. So that's kind of interesting.
I think he could get 10 more easily within the next, 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, he gets 10 more. That'll put him in top 20 territory. Dan Sorensen, 10 picks. He's tied with Tyrann Mathieu, and he's been on the team since 2014. Yeah, some good ones on here. I want to look at the passing list just because we're now down this rabbit hole. I just want to see how far away Patrick Mahomes is from the top.
Fair enough.
Lynn Dawson has 28,507. Hope you guys are following that right there. But 28,507 is what Lynn Dawson has. Yards. Trent Green, 21,459 yards. Alex Smith, 17,608. Bill Kinney, 17,000. 277, right? And Patrick Mahomes, 14,152. So, how many
Mahomes
did he
will
throw
pass
for last
Smith.
year?
I think over 5,000.
Last season he did?
Didn't
No,
he? I
he
think
sat
so.
out in week 17. I think
Oh,
he
yeah,
get
you're
like I
right.
think he had like
49-17 or something.
probably close to it. So just say he passes for 5,000 this year, right? The Chiefs are
Yeah.
going to draft Rashad Bateman and they'll get to 5,000. So gets to 5,000. 5 plus 4 is 19. That'll put him at number 3 all time. In
What about
his,
touchdowns?
that's a good. Oh, that's a
We'll
good one.
wrap up on touchdowns.
He's number 3 all time in passing touchdowns. Total touchdowns would be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
But I think
know.
but I guess Alex didn't throw for nearly as many touchdowns as Mahomes did.
102 is what Alex Smith threw for. Patrick Mahomes threw for 114. Trent Green at 118. Then Lynn Dawson, 237. So still a little bit of leg room to go to catch Lynn Dawson there. Surprised that he passed for so many touchdowns, though, that in that era. 1962 to 1975, they weren't really slinging the pigskin all around the field like they are now. So that's a good stat there from Lenny. Lenny the Cool Man. One of the best. Alex Smith, also one of the Chiefs' best. He announced his retirement. He will more than likely, or should more than likely, be in the Chiefs Ring of Honor Hall of Fame, whatever they're calling it. He should be there. Put the number 11 in the rafters.
Oh, absolutely. Like, it shouldn't even be a debate. I don't know how people can, like, even the biggest Alex Smith haters who thought that he was a system quarterback and a game manager, blah, 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 blah. Like, he brought stability to a team that was, 2-14? And immediately had, like, one of the best turnarounds in league history for that whole stretch. There is no Patrick Mahomes without Alex Smith. It's just remarkable. I mean, he was a great leader, a really good player, and he didn't have to come back and ever play football again. He didn't have to make the team. He didn't have to set on the field. He didn't have to lead a team to the playoffs. He did all of that. And I liked how in the video he said he's got plenty more of snaps in him. And I think that he does. Like, I think if he really, really wanted to suit up and play again, he could. But he knows that it's on his terms. He's going out. And I'd like to see him come coach somewhere, whether it's high school, college, NFL for the Chiefs, preferably. That'd be cool. But right now, I'm just glad that he's getting some time with his family and that, man, he's alive, he's walking again. Like, those are things that weren't certainties with him, and he just came back and crushed every obstacle thrown his way. So I'm with you.
In 2012, the Kansas City Chiefs had a 2-14 record. The next season, they hired Andy Reid. They've got Alex Smith, had an 11-5 record. That's all you need to know about Alex Smith right there, I think. And he kicked off the Reid era on the right foot, ushered in the Patrick Mahomes era. I don't think you could have asked for anyone better to do it for Patrick Mahomes either. So big tip of the cap. I know it's a few days late. I know he already announced his retirement on Monday, but we're just now kind of getting to it with the flow of everything on the podcast. But Jordan, I appreciate you joining me, going down some rabbit holes with me on Pro Football Reference. We should just have an episode where we just start on a team page on Pro Football Reference and just go.
And
we just start on the Raiders and then just go. Follow players, follow teams, follow charts. Yeah, I think that would be some phenomenal content during the dog days of summer when we don't have anything going on.
Oh, yeah, we can call it Rabbit Hole Thursday. I like the sound of that.
Oh, that is strong. That is strong. So once again, go follow Jordan on Twitter at Footnoted. I appreciate you joining me, power ranking some Chiefs wide receivers of the last 5 years. We'll do this with other positions. Let us know what position you want us to power rank next or talk about next. Jordan's tiers were fun. Maybe I'll jump into the tier game too. But as always, follow me on Twitter as well at Tucker D. Franklin. Stay up to date with the show. Tomorrow, Jordan will be joining me once again with Connor Christopherson. It's a mailbag week, I believe. Yes, because last week we did RTK Mocks. So it's a mailbag week. Send in your questions on the Discord or on Twitter at Tucker D. Franklin, at Footnoted, at Connor_DKC. We'll see them. We'll talk about them. We've only got less than a week till the draft, so we'll probably answer a lot of draft questions, kind of, I assume. Also like
Yep.
the fun questions as well. So make sure you send those in. We appreciate all of the interaction, everything you guys do, listen to the podcast, downloading it, tweeting about it, tweeting at us. It is all very much appreciated. You guys are the most valuable listeners for a reason. I'll be back with Jordan and Connor tomorrow. So until then, I'll talk to you tomorrow.